I feel like some people are like they really want to be better. Like they're like personal development junkies and they want to do all the things and
Yeah.
like clear the next thing and clear the next thing that they're missing the everything that's perfect right in front of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There is no there is no doubt that, and I've had people say, well, my my dysfunction has never let me down. It's
Mm,
always there. So I want to change around it, but I don't really want to change it. I like the process of working at it and not, and this is an odd one because this is where the language fails, right? But your concept of people that are just change junkies, change or technique junkies, as opposed to actually going and learning to go in those safe, sacred places and staying there. Why? Well, that's it. Well, what do you mean? Well, that's it for now. And just stay there as opposed to constantly, again, it goes back to people think if they learn more, it's better. If it's learned,
right.
maybe it's less,
And it
some of the same language can be the language of the healing and the language of the limit. And you have to be very, very clear on your intentions when you talk about that stuff. Can't get
right.
semantic war about it.
Yeah, right. And like recognizing that just because you're doing the things and a challenge or what you perceive to be a challenge comes into your life doesn't mean there's a problem with you. Like doesn't mean there's necessarily something wrong with you and that you have to go like to the next modality to
Well,
find a
again,
block.
what are you looking for?
Right.
Why are you searching? Are you search? I've had a lot of clients, right? And I had one of my clients come to me and say his best friend said, who also was a balancer, said, "Do you realize you're balancing to be well? You're not balancing to find the next thing to balance on." To him one day. I mean,
I love it because it's easy. Like even I
yeah,
mean, I've gotten into that before. Like, okay, what's the next thing that needs to go? The next thing that needs to move. And then I'm like, wait, what if right here, right now is like exactly where I'm supposed to be?
we call that the Bop-A-Mole phase. That
Yep.
game you play in the thing and bang, bang, bang. There is a magical person who just one of the great people I've ever been lucky enough to meet and learn from is named Dar Emmy. And she runs the second or third largest teen suicide prevention program in the world. And Dar is just an amazing person that was there for me and my growth. And she says exactly what you just said. What if it's perfect now? And if you have to think about it, if you really take that question in its depth, well, then if it's perfect or if it's perfect, am I aligned and attending to it and celebrating with it and being with it? Or am I putting my energy elsewhere
Yep.
on things that I've layered on top of it? Well, it's perfect because of this. Well, yeah, or what if it's just perfect now?
Hmm.
Right now. Can you hold still with it? Can you just, you know, I believe that we just layer on top of ourselves all these
Hmm.
thoughts and roles and concepts
Hmm.
and people we like or don't like, or we identify with groups or group thought, and we just layer those on top of the purity. And when I've been doing this a while now, and when you go and see Hey Ala Hulan, the Ho'oponopono guy, and you go see, a lot of these little mountaintop peak thoughts are remarkably similar
Hmm. Yep.
about, you don't need one more thing. You need to learn to journey within, you know.
Yep. That's the one tool you need to
Well,
know
yeah,
how to
it's a perfect tool. Yes, it's the best tool in the world. As long as there are people on this planet, there are big groups of people who are just, sorry, everybody, the herd.
yeah.
And there are other people that are the leaders or the questers or the whatever. And when the kids come up and they say, you don't seem to the leaders, you don't seem to be like those people over there. And the people go, well, we're not. And they go, well, I want to be like you and not like them. teach us. And they won't teach them. We go like, all right. And the kids keep bugging them and bugging them, bugging them. And then a bunch of kids stop bugging them and go back to herd. But a couple of kids keep bugging the leaders. They're like, I want to be like you. And they say, well, whatever you do, don't go north. Where do the kids immediately go?
North.
North. Because that metaphorically is where, and that mythically is where all the consternation and pain and fear is, because we're going to need energy to change.
Yeah.
And if the fears and limits are coming up anyway, why wouldn't we just take the energy from those fears and limits and let them be? They're not erased. They have a right to exist in the world. They're here, but now they're deflated. They don't have enough energy. There's no electricity running through them now. You have captured all that vibration and electricity to invest in something deeper, in something you know some of that you want to know more of, like love or peace or clarity or kindness, for heaven's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then going back to so when we're thinking about when something has to be hard, or it's going to be I'm going to have to journey into a dark place because that experience in my past was very dark and very hurtful, I feel like I'm going to have to relive that. Is that always true?
Not always true, but often true.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the difference. When you do what we call a balance, we're going to fire off the different poles of your brain. You're going to be whole brained as you were when you were a little 17-month-old kid. We're going to go after these fears and darknesses. We're going to go and re-experience them. Your brain won't want to stay there. It'll turn and run, and emotions will try and run away to something nice. And we just stay right on it. What happens is when you deflate those programs, your subconscious mind can't find them anymore. So what do you mean? Well, that darkness has been my friend for a long time. Well, no, it's about to be like, you'll be able to be like, yeah, I can remember it, but why would I think about that? It's like it's 5 airplane hangars away and it's about the size of a trash can. You're like, well, I can see it. That's very different than it making your choices for you and it just washing over you all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a very different place. The difference in balancing is it goes to the fears, it opens up the programs, it heals them, and then it puts them all away. If you try and learn this consciously and go face those fears, God bless you. Good luck. You're going to be walking around in those same horrors, thigh deep, for a long time.
Yeah.
And you need a system that will bring you back to a state of wellness and homeostasis at the end. And you've done enough balances. You know that at the end, you feel like you're incredibly vital and simultaneously relaxed, like you're greatly in flow and relaxed, and yet you could do anything. You're really, all lights are on.
And you know
we
what
are
else
that person. We are that person, and we get taught that we're separate.
Yes. And what I've noticed about this balancing tool is in journeying within myself with your help, Ross, is that what my conscious mind thinks is going to come up. And like, oh, it's going to be that, that worst time of my life, that dark night of the soul. I'm sure that's going to be the thing that's going to need to clear. It's usually not.
No.
Like, it's usually something that I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that was affecting me so much.
Yeah. Because
they're like, oh, I forgot about
programs. They're sharing programs. And when you change one of them, you change the other one.
Mm-hmm.
They're not always it's when's the first time you felt that is an amazing question. Because we think it's this, and it might actually be a bunch of little ones over here. Well, if you heal this one over here, you get that one.
Yes. It's like it finds it like little magnets, and it brings it in.
Oh, they're very associative. We're incredibly associative. We're an associative learner. There's no doubt.
I don't think there's been one balance that I haven't. I don't think there's been one balance that I haven't been kind of surprised about. Like, oh, I would have never even connected that. But I didn't consciously pick what was going to come up. So like remembering that we have this innate intelligence, we have our spirit, we have our like, this connection, this divine connection that's also guiding us. So it's not like me, Melissa, having to say like, okay, you're going to clear that hard time from when you were 20 years old today. Like it doesn't work like that. Even if I wanted that to clear because it still bothers me, like I don't, as human Melissa, pick that. Like once you connect in, it's just like whatever's of your highest good and what needs to go for your
Mhm.
next step and where you are on your path,
Yes.
it just does,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
We're very convenient in our thinking sometimes about what it might be, or
Yeah.
what we think it is because we have seen it on TV or it happened in our family and the thing I want to take a second and you've done a good job of learning this is we're going to get energy to live our life. And we have a true choice in what we're talking about. Are we going to get our energy to do our traditional patterns and behaviors and everything from the traditional old programs? Or if we're wanting to be a higher spirit or a more evolved soul, if I want to have a peaceful soul, if that's as far as my greatness on this planet is going to go, is to be a true peaceful soul. If
Hmm.
that's what I'm doing, it takes do you think it takes the same energy as before? No, it's worth
Hmm.
it, and it we just have to keep digging at it, and you dig at it till you get it and you experience it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. It's not what we think it is, and I kind of wandered off the point there, but it's not what we think it is, like the old someday I'll stuff. I
Yep.
mean, if I just keep working someday I'll, it's already here. I have a peaceful soul. It's been covered up. I just need to go in and get it. But it would be the height of arrogance for me to think that I know all those things that are covering it up. So I'll work on the ones I do know. And my soul, my being, my mind, my higher self, my spirit, my guides will help me move the other ones that are maybe more consequential, you
Yeah.
know, really more consequential. We started this
Yep.
conversation by saying we don't know what we want to do a value, but we know what our values aren't.
Yep.
Well, then that's going to be just as valid when we go to search,
Right.
within ourselves, and we're going to know what it isn't and try and run there as opposed to what it really is. And
Yep.
we're very consistent learners that way.
And don't you feel like it's kind of part of our human path to go through these experiences and we learn like
Oh yeah.
what we don't want or what we don't like, and then we get to this, to me it kind of has felt like a precipice, like all
Yeah.
right, you've had plenty of experiences of things that you didn't like or that you didn't resonate with or ways of doing things that you've been told or you've seen.
Mhm.
So now like do it in a way that resonates with you, right? And then I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it's going to be. And then
Well,
here
not
comes
only
Ross.
that, you're hitting it right on the nail. You're hitting it right on the nail. But when we say, I don't know what it is, or I choose to go slightly differently, guilt, I'm not,
Mm,
I'm not with the herd. I'm going to think differently than my family members. I mean,
yes.
who am I to do that? Right. I mean, who am I to do those things? So it's more obfuscated than we know.
Mm,
It's not just a linear track.
yes. I love that. Yep. So good. Well, this is an awesome conversation. Thank you so much, Ross. And you
You're
guys
wonderful.
stay with us because Ross and I are going to have really cool conversations coming up soon. See you later. Cool. I don't know why I laugh every time I say that. As a kid, I always wanted to be a talk show host. Maybe I'm
Well,
just
you
beginning.
are. Now you are.
And it's kind of funny because I've been on some podcasts lately and I'm leaving